Civil World Headquarters. This is Todd coming at you with another teacher tip video. Today we're going to be looking at our Elementary Engineering Design Challenge bag. This one's pretty cool. Here's all the materials that's going to be in each of the bags. Students get a chance to build a parachute. They're going to make and launch a catapult, and they're going to build a marble maze. One of the things that's a little different about this student activity pack is we're really emphasizing the engineering design process. We want students to be presented with a challenge and then have to think about how to go about that challenge. Design a solution, test it out, see what works and what doesn't work, improve it, test it again. We want students to go through that process, and while they do that, of course, they're going to be having a lot of fun. It's an awesome opportunity for you too as a teacher to bring in science concepts. You can bring in ELA, you can bring in math. There's lots of opportunities because the kids are going to be really engaged. So we're going to get started here, and we're going to look at our first activity, which is the parachute activity. For the first activity, students are going to make parachutes. Things that they get to use to make their parachutes that are included in the bag are a bag, Ziploc bag, a piece of aluminum foil, and then we have a napkin. So those are the things that they can use as their parachute. In addition to that, we have some tape and some string to put it all together. And the thing that they're going to be trying to slow down is the washer. So students have to think about how to construct a parachute to attach to a washer so they can launch it, release it, and see if they can slow the time it takes for the washer to hit the ground. One thing to point out, the materials are all included. However, the students will need to have some kind of scissors. So if they're doing it at home, they'll have to have some scissors. Of course, if they're in school, provide them some scissors. One of the things that the kids might want to explore, in addition to the different types of materials, how long the string needs to be, different shapes of the parachutes, all those things allow students to have many different ideas and allow them to test them, and they can make many different types of parachutes. I went ahead and made one together here. It's got, the corners are taped together, and then I got things are taped to the string. So we'll go ahead, and one way you can launch it is to hold it up, your washer in one hand and the parachute in the other hand, throw it up in the air, and you can time it. Another way to do it, if you're lucky enough to have students at school or if you're together, is you can launch them from, for example, a staircase. And everyone can be launching from the exact same height, and then you can actually time it, and students can gather some data and see how long it takes for their washer to hit the ground and make some type of a competition, or at least within their own parachute design, see if they can make one that lasts longer the next time. So this is part one, where they get a chance to explore and play and come up with different ideas for parachutes. If parachutes are not really something that they're familiar with, it's okay to show them some pictures ahead of time, give them some ideas of, ideas of what works. You might be able to see some video clips or some pictures that might help things out. In part two, after they've done the first part, only thing we do is we add a little weight to the marble, to the washer, by adding a marble. So the students will tape the marble together, but the challenge is still the same. It's just we have a little bit heavier of a mass now. So that's our parachute activity. Next one we're going to talk about is catapults. So the first thing that we need to do is build the prototype. We're just going to build the basic catapult, and then what students get a chance to do is make changes to the catapult. So we're going to build this first one together. The directions are step by step in the student activity guide. The first thing the students have to do is get 5 of these craft sticks, put them together, and go ahead, take some of the small rubber bands that are in the bag and tape them around, use the rubber band to put the sticks together. Go to the other side and do the same thing. So you have a small rubber band holding together 5 craft sticks. If the rubber bands are too difficult to use, tape works just as well, and students can just go ahead and use tape instead. So it's not a big deal if they would rather use that. Once they get 5 craft sticks put together, then they go ahead and get 2 more craft sticks. Same thing, 1 rubber band. This time they're only going to do one end, because they're going to open the other end and slide the other 5 craft sticks in the middle. Now, in order to make it so that we can launch it, we need to be able to put our finger here and launch our pom-pom. So, at this point, we need to include a launching platform, which is a 1-ounce cup lid, and it's got a piece of tape. And when you put it on there, put it at the end, but make sure you leave a little room here so you can launch the pom-pom. Each bag has their own pom-pom. Pull it back, and that's how it works. So with the prototype, students have an opportunity. There's 3 different parts. The first one, they look at how high they can launch the catapult or launch the pom-pom. Then they look at how far they can launch it, and at the end, we actually put a target out there, and they need to manipulate their catapult so it hits the target in as few tries as possible. For all of these, there is a tape measure included, so they can measure how high or how far, or set the target at specified locations. So again, this is a little different because it's a prototype, but then kids get to use the prototype and make changes. Hope you have fun with the catapult, because when we did it here, we had a lot of fun. The next activity is called Marble Maze. For this activity, students are going to use various items in the bag: string, aluminum foil, they can use a napkin, they can use craft sticks. But what their challenge is for them to make a maze on a piece of chipboard and have a marble do various tricks or accomplish some different challenges. So one of the things you're going to have to probably talk to your kids about is what chipboard is. So there's one thick piece of paper that's chipboard that's in the student activity pack, so make sure that they're using that. Another rule is that the marble can only move when you place it on there by the person who's holding the maze. Okay, so at that point, students have to use these materials and think about how they're going to make a marble that's going to turn left, it's going to turn right, it's going to go over something, it's going to go under something, and then it's going to return back to where it started. So those are the challenges that the students have to make. Here's an example of one that we made using some of the various materials. This is one that we threw together pretty quick. Once the students are able to accomplish all the obstacles, then the challenge is to make it as fast as they can. So they can continue to make changes, they can continue to modify their maze, but the same rules apply. The marble has to only move because the person controlling it is maneuvering the piece of chipboard. So that activity is our marble maze.